Okay, so you have probably heard that Lipa Later, the popular buy now pay later solution, has gone under administration, and I am doing this video to do a bit of a breakdown of what administration is and what that means from a legal perspective here. So I know a lot of people have given comments on why it's going through that process and the market aspects and all of those things, but I really don't want to go into that side. So I'll focus on the legal elements that are relevant to that particular context. And one, I'd first start with the definition of what administration is. So, and I think to give a bit of a good understanding of what administration is, I'd give a context of how a company operates. So once you've registered a company, the idea is whichever company, the company you have with the idea is that you want this company to run at a profit, and so that when it runs at a profit, it's able to pay its shareholders a certain amount of money called dividends at the end of each financial year, depending on how the company has structured the financial year. But in certain circumstances, there are moments when certain companies do not achieve that level of profit. So maybe they're supposed to earn a particular amount of money as planned, but they don't earn that set of profits at that period of time, and now they start running into losses in the long run. So when they start running into losses, there are different avenues that are available to them in the legal field, or rather in the legal in terms of from a legal perspective. The company can, number one, they can wind up. So basically just dissolve the company and just call it quits and say we tried but we're not able to do what we wanted to achieve, and now we just call it quits. That's one element of it. But another dynamic comes in when the company has creditors, in the sense that if you have creditors and you have employees, so it means you have debts that are owing. So at that point in time, you don't have the luxury to just immediately go and just wind up everything, because they are pending bills and whatnot. So at that point in time, there are a number of options that are present. So you can still go, and I mentioned the winding up of the company. It's also sometimes known as liquidating the company, which is another bit of similar to what winding up is. But now, before that aspect of liquidation, as I had mentioned, it's usually a drastic measure. But because there are in this circumstance, there are people who are owed money by the company, so it's not usually an option at that point in time. So instead of that, there's something they do called putting the company under administration. So now let me now at least now get down to it. So at that bit of administration, so what administration is, it's a bit, or let me use an analogy. So how we understand it, if you are talking about liquidation or winding up, you're talking about a company in essence dying or being taken to the morgue and whatnot. And when you're taken to the morgue as a company, through that liquidation process, there's someone who's appointed called a liquidator. So you can understand a liquidator as someone like a mortician or a morgue attendant. So their job is basically to sell all the assets of the company and pay the debts and whatnot. So in that point, at that point, if you're not able to simply dissolve now, you need to go through this process of liquidation, and at that point in time, the liquidator will be able to just sell your assets and pay all your debtors. That's another angle. But now, in a more complex case where you're trying to rescue the company, it's when you go to under a process called administration. So administration, in essence, happens when you're trying to rescue a company. When, yes, the company is no longer profitable, its losses are more than its profits, it has debts, but you do not want to wind up the company. So you do not want to, in quote, kill the company. You want the company to try and have the company survive. So in that case, you appoint someone called an administrator. So when you read the case, you'll get an administrator that was appointed in that case. So you appoint an administrator. The value of what an administrator does, he takes up the running of the company with the aim of trying to bring it back to profitability, trying to make profits and then hand over back to the directors and the shareholders. So an interesting thing about administration is that when a company is put under administration, what that in essence means, or rather the impact of that is, the directors no longer run the company. The company is run by the administrator. So the directors are just there to be seen until the company is brought to profitability, and then it can be handed back over to its other management. So if it's not able to be, as I mentioned, so the administrator is like a doctor. So in a sense, so a doctor, and the company is being treated, and they're trying to see what was the issue, and then trying to find a solution for it, that while still maintaining the company, keeping the employees active, paying the debtors, and trying to bring it back to profits. So if administration is not successful, the other option that is usually there is, if it's not successful, the company will just eventually need to be liquidated. But if it's successful, it's handed back to the original directors, and they're able to to continue running the company. So that's my bit of nugget. I wanted to break that down. My name is Meshach Masibo. I am a lawyer who specializes in offering legal services to companies in technology. Thank you.